Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Living on Lemonade podcast. I'm your host, Lauren. Today, we're going to go on a bit of a journey together. This episode it's going to be a little bit dark, a little bit heavy, but with some enlightenment in it and support for those who have been navigating a difficult time, be it grief or life transitions. Um, Really just anything that you're feeling the weight of and you're struggling to cope with and you feel alone. Now, I will try to keep this episode a little bit shorter. I know the last one was a bit long-winded. I'm trying to kind of put everything in a nutshell, but sometimes I get on a little bit of a side tangent, especially if I add some stories in there. So today, I want to I just want to have a conversation and try to start to normalize. I know obviously other people make the do the work and put the effort in as well, but I want to be one of those voices because it is so relevant to what I've been going through over the last year after losing my dad. And I've had three separate conversations with people I love very much lately. I'll highlight them a little bit while still keeping their privacy. And all three of them are in a similar boat you know, to have lost parents, and one just lost a friend from high school, same age as us. We're 33, just devastating. And I've been open with them lately with my own struggle. And I think it's really important when we have the on the days where we have the strength to just be open about it and have those safe people to have those conversations with, because even if they haven't brought it forward to us first, if we can feel safe talking to them about it, it's sometimes helpful for them to hear it first, right? And we can be that little bit of glimmer of light, and they feel safe being vulnerable and opening up and saying, I feel the same way too. And sometimes you just need someone to sit in your corner. So what I really want to talk about is when life feels dark, when you feel like you're in a place that's super dark, you're not seeing much, if any, light, and it's kind of hard to know where to go, how to navigate it. To start the conversation, one of the people I was talking to who had just lost a friend, we were talking about how it would be nice if we can just, and this like same with one of my other friends, it would be nice if we can just express and just say the simple words of "It's dark over here." Like, can we hashtag that? Hashtag "It's dark over here," and send that to one of our friends who gets it, and we know who gets it. Or maybe they haven't gone through the depths of what we're going through, but they are able to hold the space for us. And the intention that I set when I say that is not to be fixed. I think there's such a push in society to fix things, right? And I understand where it comes from, and there's no animosity around that, because the truth is, those of us who have not experienced what the other person is going through, it can feel very uncomfortable because maybe we feel some of their pain and it's very uncomfortable, and maybe we just don't know what to say. So we think that if we can try and like ease it or fix it, things will feel better. And I think it's very important from somebody who's been going through the depths of the darkness, to um, recognize, for those who don't understand it, is that uh, just be mindful that trying to fix it often does the opposite. Because ask yourself, and I ask myself in the same situations when I'm helping, trying to hold space for someone navigating something I haven't been through, is, am I trying to fix it for them, or am I trying to fix it for me because I don't feel comfortable in this and I want to make it feel better for myself? So I think having that mindfulness around that is super important. And then going beyond that, sometimes when we're going through the darkness, we literally just want someone to sit in the dark with us. So if someone can just say, "It's dark over here," that can just be an indicator of I need somebody to come sit in the dark with me and just hold my hand and not say a word. Just hold me, hold my hand, sit next to me so I feel your shoulder on my shoulder, and we can sit in silence. It's just that when it's dark, it's lonely. And we don't always want to sit in the dark by ourselves, and we're not always able to find the light. There's a million tools. I talk about the tools on how to, feed our soul, and to cope with this stuff, to lessen the weight of grief and what we're going through. But the truth is, there are some days that those tools, they don't mean a thing, and you find yourself in such a deep dark hole that there is no glimmer of light. Sometimes there's a pinhole, sometimes it's, as my dad would say, darker than the inside of a cow. And you end up sitting there and you're alone, and you just want to know that somebody's sitting there with you. And then when you're ready, you can navigate, hold your hands out, try and find the walls and find your way to the edge of the darkness and find some light, and maybe they're helping you, maybe they're just going along for the journey with you. And I think there's so much power for the ones supporting the person in the dark to just be there. There's no expectation to fix it. They probably don't wanna be fixed. They're just so exhausted. I know for me, when I'm in the dark, I don't need the logical, um could go on an angry rant about this. And to be honest, like, I totally understand both sides of it, but I think especially if we don't understand it and we try to give logical solutions to emotional problems. And the two don't go, head and heart are separate. You can't give a logical solution to a heart matter. You got to tap into the heart space. And often that looks like just sitting with the person, just holding space for them, letting them talk if they need to just vent. Don't give advice unless they ask for it. Just let them vent, and if they just wanna sit there quietly and just have that person, and you're that person they chose, and feel honored about it. I know I do. When someone opens up to me with that much vulnerability because I know how difficult it is, I feel so honored, so privileged that they have chosen me to hold space for them in that time. It's the highest honor. And one of the other conversations that I had is I was and this person I'm particularly comfortable being vulnerable with, their soul family and literal family, but I've been very transparent, in our shared kind of trauma with stuff, and I feel so grateful that they held space for me, and I have been very clear with them. We had a conversation not long ago, and we were talking about just stuff that we experienced a year ago, and we're coming up to that year, and we're checking in on each other, and we're just like sharing our hearts because we went through the darkness together at the time, the chaos. And I mean, we're not okay in a lot of ways. So just being able to bring that to light, it feels like such a relief. And I said things like, there are days when I don't wanna get up, I don't wanna do anything, I don't wanna exist anymore. Um, I believe that after we die, I believe there's something more. I believe we're energy. Energy is not created or destroyed. We continue to exist on some level. Um, I sometimes think that Earth is just can be a miserable experience, and I believe that my loved ones who I'm missing and pining over are somewhere pretty nice. And the logical part of me knows that they can't come back in the physical. Their body's been buried, their body's been cremated. They can't physically come back to me. And the only way I could be with them is for me to go to them. And I just want to be honest. Those are normal feelings. When we miss somebody so much, our heart, we have so much emotional grief and what's the word I want to use? Distress. I want to use that word, emotional distress, that we can feel it physically in our body. The thing about grief is it can make you have physical symptoms, and those who haven't walked through this along this journey don't they just don't get it. But it is a very physical experience. And I've had times where I'm curled up in a ball in my bed and I don't want to be here anymore, and to be able to have, 3 people that I can think of right now and a couple more as well, that I can just be open and honest about and get those feelings out and not be judged or like, "Oh, you shouldn't feel that way," or you don't mean that." Those are some of the most, um, invalidating responses, and I know it's a fear response. I know that person still loves me, and they're fearful because they 'cause they're wondering what my next intentions are, but to be honest, I just wanna feel heard and maybe understood by those who also know what I'm going through. So I was able to express that, I had a really bad night a few months ago, and I spiraled. I never spiraled like that before. I'd been doing all the putting all my tools to work, and something happened along in the aftermath of losing my dad, and I had a night where I spiraled so quickly and so deeply that I got in my car and I started driving, and I told this person, like, and I was crying while I said it. I said, part of me just hoped that something would happen and I would veer off the road and hit a tree. And at that point, I was in such emotional distress that I didn't care what happened to me next. In fact, I kinda hoped that something would happen and it would be over, and I've never been in the mind frame to do anything to leave, but there have been times where I would just wish it would stop. I wish the pain would stop. I wish that I could be with my loved one, and that would be my dad, in the last year, and now my aunt as well. And that person's response was just, "I know." And I can't tell you how validating that was for them to just understand it, and even if they didn't understand it, to just hold space, like, that must have been so difficult for you, and just let me talk. And with the other conversations, we talked about just being able, like I was saying before, just being able to say, like, "I wanna be able to text someone," or, I wish this was a thing." Just to be able to text someone, "It's dark over here." And having a handful of people that know exactly what that means. It means that this person's struggling, and they just need someone to sit in the dark with and to respond with, "What can I do? Can I sit in the dark? I'm here to sit in the dark with you, either figuratively or literally." Um, I guess it's figuratively, but in the sense that you don't have to physically go over to their house, but it's like, "Okay, what do you need? Do you need to vent? Or do you just need me to sit with you quietly?" You know? Maybe it's on the phone. Maybe you just sit in silence and that person cries, or they just do whatever they need to release it or just sit with it, but they know that they have someone on the other end of the line. Or if you're able to go there and just literally just like sit on the floor with them or whatever that might look like. Um, and just how the people that I talked to about this, they were powerful conversations because there's so much validation around that, of just like, it seems so simple, but it's life changing because when somebody is in the depths of that, um, there's nothing more validating than having someone who won't try to fix you and who will just sit with you in the dark. And just to kind of follow up with this, I have since sought out specific grief counseling because, obviously after going through and having those thoughts, even though I wasn't going to action anything, but just like the thought of like wanting to leave and stuff, um, I I I did know, and having that awareness of like, I've been using the tools, I've been doing the self-care practices, the stuff for my mental, emotional, spiritual, physical health. Um, it wasn't cutting it because I was in such depths of my grief that at some point we have to realize that we need to seek out professional or just extra support. So if you have employee assistance program through work, or like look into how to get some counseling locally, um, call like a crisis hotline. These people will walk you through, they'll listen to you, they'll validate you if you don't have those people set up in your life. But certainly, um, even having the people in my life, I still sought out to have some counseling sessions, and I'm working through that. It's been helpful, having a professional to just kind of listen and give me stuff to kind of take home and help me process some of what I'm going through, and just the validation of like everything that's happening is super normal and I'm not overreacting. It's just, this is just the pain of losing someone, and especially when there's horrible things that happen in the aftermath that we have to come to terms with and somehow accept. Um that's pretty much what I wanted to say tonight. I just wanted to summarize, if you are in the depths, if this resonates with you, if you feel like you're in the dark, I so encourage you to take the time, take a moment. Who can you text? Text them. It's dark over here. Maybe you'll have to explain it the one time, but after you can explain it the one time, they'll understand what that means. And if we could normalize, a phrase like this, we can start to support each other more, even if we haven't gone through it. It's just the idea of sitting with them, right? And just holding space for them and what they need. What do you need? And also, I encourage you to reach out to a professional too, to get some help, because the world is a better place with you in it. And as much as I your feelings are valid, I see you. I I can't say I know what you're going through, but I can say that your feelings are valid. I hope that there's somebody close by. If not, please make a phone call. And sometimes we just need a little bit of extra support. But if we can have those loved ones kind of on standby as well, super helpful. And then we can just kind of get it off our chest a little bit, or just have that extra love that we need. And I really hope that there are some better days coming for you. And if you need a friend, please reach out. You can send me a message too. I'll hold space for you. Um, yeah, I just wanted to express that, because I know what it's like to sit in the dark and feel like there's no light, and not really know what to do next, and just I need someone there by my side, even if we're not going to go anywhere. So um, I I know it's a bit of a heavy topic, but I think these conversations are so important, because we need to be able to express this. We need to be able to have the tools and the self-awareness to not only navigate it ourselves, but to support others when someone else is in a dark place. And it can be just, like I said, simple as sitting with them, holding space, listening, or just sitting quietly so that they know that they're not alone. There's so much, there's so much power in that. We don't need to fix anything. We just need to be there for them. So I hope you're hanging in. If you're going through a tough time, my heart is with you, sending you so much love. And I'll see you on the next episode. Goodbye.